So, we meet again. Hey you guys, we will get started in the usual 5 minutes at 2 o'clock East Coast time. Okay, and I'll thank everybody who's coming into the room now. Hey, tomorrow is July. I guess you guys are all out of school, certainly by now. Hope everybody has some interesting summer plans. Hi Ryan. Hey, the Phillips kids in Alabama. Cody, I don't know what you're doing this summer, but I hope it's something good. Nora and Eloise from New Jersey, and Srikar from India again. Hi. Ian and Eric are here. It's hot today. Not that hot here. The Haugens. Darcy, hi. How you doing? And Miles. How you doing, Miles? Good to see you. Javin and Johan, glad you can make it today. Henry from Kentucky, there's 80 of us now in the room. Haley and Liliana from California, hi to all of you, glad you can make it. Lucas and Connor, we're going to have some fun today. Peter and Ben are here, that's why we're going to have fun, because Peter and Ben are here. Jim Pilat, of course, he's here. The Markwood crew from Florida, glad to see you. Philip. Connor and Aiden are back again. And so is Jack and Ben from Tampa, Florida. Josephine, Pennsylvania. We'll get started. Hey, Wyatt. We'll get started in, 3 minutes. Philip. Hey. Supriya. Hi. Anish from Bedford, Massachusetts. Philip is here. Okay, I got Philip. I'm not going to say Philip anymore. James and Alexa. Joshua and Sophia and Ariel in Pennsylvania. Naomi and Emily from Houston, Texas. Dylan, Milo from Livingston. Hi. Nice try. Tiago from Florida. And Aubrey, hi. Billy Sickles, hey. Billy, you better stick around. I'm going to mention your name later. Elizabeth is here from Connecticut. Chase and Gavin from Newtown, PA. We'll get started in 3 minutes. Tyler, Valentina and Sebastian, Ben and Danny from Illinois. Hi, glad you can make it. Brandon Cohen, good to see you. Alexandria and Aliyah, hi. And Tatiana, you're here every time, every session. Marianne and Margaret Mitzel, and thanks, Sika. Grant in Virginia is here. Okay, and Ethan and Hayden also. We got about 2 minutes to go exactly. Aiden and Ariana in Pennington, New Jersey. And Tyler is here from Florida. Glad you can make it. The crazy Canadian Coopers are always here. And so is Julia from Briarcliff Manor. And Walker and Blake in Virginia. The Shoemaker kids in Illinois. Phoenix is here. Glad to see ya. Zoe's here. I'll take a sip. Tyler's here. Okay, minute and a half. Megan and Ellie in Massachusetts. Jackson in Camarillo, California. Arella, hi. Okay, all right. So you got 134 of us. You still have time to get your friends, your relatives, get them in here. Zoe's here. So they can enjoy this too. Nebraska is here, of course. Okay. If you type your name a third, fourth, and fifth time, I don't say it 3, 4, and 5 times, just so you know. Okay. We got about 45 seconds left. Rachel from Long Island. AJ and Morgan, hi. Emmett, how you doing? Okay. We got half a minute left to go. Gonna have some fun today. You guys ready? I'm ready. Hey, Ben. All right, good. Okay, we got 20 seconds. You count them down if you like. John V. Hi, Christine. Okay, we got 10 seconds. 9, 8, Smith kids. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's go time, baby. Hi, Dan Gutman here. I am the guy who writes the My Weird School series, and welcome to number 76 in my Weird Read Aloud, heading for 100. That's our goal. And let's get started right away with our question of the day, which is from Billy Sickles from Washington. And Billy Sickles is a regular here, and his question was, how did AJ get his name? And the answer is, well, AJ, when my son Sam was little, he had a classmate named AJ, and I like initial names. So the A stands for Arlo, which is named after the folk singer Arlo Guthrie, and his middle name is Jervis, J. Jervis, which I just thought was a little bit of an unusual name, you know. And if you're wondering what AJ's last name is, I don't know. I never gave him a last name. Andrea has a last name. AJ does not have a last name, as far as I know. Okay, I hope that answers your question, Billy. And let's get started, I should say, with our book of the week, which is the My Weird School Special. It's We're Red, Weird, and Blue. What can we do? And this is sort of in honor of the 4th of July coming up on Saturday. So we started out yesterday, and we read the first 3 chapters, and we found that AJ remembers this horrible humiliation he had last year on President's Day, when all the kids in the class had to do an oral report about a president. And AJ did his oral report, spent a long time preparing for his oral report about Benjamin Franklin, not realizing that Benjamin Franklin was not a president. So he was totally humiliated last year. And Mr. Klutz has announced that there's going to be a special President's Day challenge against the crosstown rival Dirk School. So they're going to be answering trivia questions about the various presidents, and the winning school gets a trip to Disneyland, the theme park. So it doesn't look good for AJ because he only seems to know 2 facts about the presidents. He knows which president was the first president to use a flush toilet, and which president was the first one to throw up in public. That's all he knows. All right, so that's where we left off, and now we're going to get started with chapter 4, which is titled A Piece of Cake. You guys ready? Gather around your big screen TVs, your laptop, your tablet, whatever it is. Let's do this thing, okay? The next morning, we were in Mr. Cooper's class. Turn to page 23 in your math books, he said. That's when an announcement came over the loudspeaker. Will the 3rd grade please report to the all-purpose room? Not again, groaned Mr. Cooper. Okay, everybody, Pringle up. We all lined up like Pringles and walked 1,100,000 miles to the all-purpose room, which should really have a different name because there are no dolphins in there. Here's Jim's picture of the kids lining up to go to the all-purpose room. Our principal, Mr. Klutz, was waiting for us. He has no hair at all. I mean none. He must save a lot of money on haircuts and shampoo. He told us all to climb up on the stage. I'm so excited, Mr. Klutz said. It's time to choose which of you will represent elementary school in the President's Day Challenge. Are you kids pumped? Yeah, shouted all the girls. No, shouted all the boys. I'm going to ask you questions about the presidents, Mr. Klutz explained. Blah, 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 blah. Whoever gets the most right will compete against Dirk School next week, blah, 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 blah. Annoying Andrea was sitting in front of me. I heard her whisper to Emily. I'm in the gifted and talented program, Andrea whispered. This is going to be a piece of cake. What does cake have to do with anything? Andrea got the first question, of course. Which president said it is easier to do a job right than to explain why you didn't? Asked Mr. Klutz. I had no idea. The answer is Martin Van Buren, Andrea said. He was the 8th president of the United States. That's right, said Mr. Klutz. Very good, Andrea. I can see you've been studying. Andrea smiled the smile she smiles to let everybody know she knows something nobody else knows. What is her problem? Okay, AJ, it's your turn, said Mr. Klutz. This is a tough one. Who was president when the first flush toilet was installed in the White House? I knew that. Millard Fillmore, I shouted. That's right, said Mr. Klutz. Very good, AJ. I see you've been studying too. I stuck my tongue out at Andrea. Next, it was Ryan's turn. Who was the third president of the United States? Asked Mr. Klutz. John Adams, guessed Ryan. Incorrect, said Mr. Klutz. Sorry, Ryan. Adams was the second president. The third president was Thomas Jefferson. Nice try, though. Ryan walked off the stage and took a seat in the front row. Next, it was Michael's turn. Who was president when the Civil War started? Asked Mr. Klutz. Andrew Jackson, guessed Michael. No, that's not it, said Mr. Klutz. Sorry, Michael. The correct answer is Abraham Lincoln. Michael walked off the stage. It was Neil's turn. Which president said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself"? Asked Mr. Klutz. John F. Kennedy, guessed Neil. Nice try, but no, said Mr. Klutz. Sorry, Neil. The correct answer is Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Neil walked off the stage. It was Emily's turn. Emily, what does LBJ stand for? Lyndon Bobby Johnson, guessed Emily. Close. Oh, so close, said Mr. Klutz. Sorry, Emily. The correct answer is Lyndon Baines Johnson. Baines, that's a weird name. Emily walked off the stage. It was Alexia's turn. 7 of our first 12 presidents were born in what state? Asked Mr. Klutz. Massachusetts, guessed Alexia. Nope, said Mr. Klutz. Sorry, Alexia. The correct answer is Virginia. Alexia walked off the stage. One by one, everybody was getting eliminated. Finally, it was just me and Andrea on the stage. Okay, now it's down to 2 students, said Mr. Klutz. I looked at Andrea. She stuck her tongue out at me. I stuck my tongue out at her. When you don't like somebody, you should always stick your tongue out at them. Nobody knows why. But it's the first rule of being a kid. Here's a picture of Andrea's really mad at AJ, and I think she's sticking her tongue out at him. Andrea, asked Mr. Klutz, what was George Washington's wife's name? Martha! Martha! Andrea replied right away. That's right, said Mr. Klutz. AJ, which president once threw up on a foreign dignitary? George H.W. Bush, I shouted. That's right, said Mr. Klutz. And for a bonus point, who did he throw up on? The Prime Minister of Japan, I shouted. Very good, AJ, said Mr. Klutz. I stuck my tongue out at Andrea again. As long as Mr. Klutz kept asking questions about toilets and presidents who threw up on people, I would be fine. Andrea, said Mr. Klutz, which president's first name at birth was Leslie? Wow, these questions were tough. Gerald Ford, Andrea shouted. Right, said Mr. Klutz. It's going to be hard to choose between you two. AJ, who was the president from 1929 to 1933? Uh-oh. I didn't know that one. I was going to lose. Andrea would be competing against Dirk School in the President's Day Challenge, and she would be going to Disneyland. I tried to think of who was the president from 1929 to 1933. In the front row, Michael caught my eye. He was making weird hand motions. It almost looked like he was vacuuming a floor. That was weird. Michael, what are you doing? Asked Mr. Klutz. I'm pretending to use a vacuum cleaner, Michael replied. Vacuum cleaner. Hoover, I shouted. The correct answer is Hoover. That's right, said Mr. Klutz. Very good, AJ. Andrea, which president has the same first name as a character on Sesame Street? Grover Cleveland, shouted Andrea. Right, said Mr. Klutz. AJ, who was the fourth president? I had no idea. This was it. I was finished. In the front row, Ryan was making hand motions. He looked like he was arguing with somebody. Ryan, what are you doing? Asked Mr. Klutz. Nothing, Ryan replied. I'm just pretending to be a guy who's mad at his son. Mad at his son? Madison, I shouted. The correct answer is Madison. That's right, said Mr. Klutz. Very good, AJ. That's not fair, Andrea shouted. Arlo's friends are feeding him the answers. He's cheating. I am not, I shouted. R2. R2-D2, I shouted. We went back and forth like that for a while. Mr. Klutz had to make the shut up peace sign with his fingers to calm everybody down. I can select 2 third graders, he said. I think it's obvious which of our students know the most about the presidents. AJ and Andrew will both represent our school at the President's Day Challenge. Everybody clapped their hands in a circle to give us a round of applause. Ooh, said Ryan. AJ and Andrew will be in the President's Day Challenge together. They must be in love. When are you going to get married? Asked Michael. If those guys weren't my best friends, I would hate them. All right, that's chapter 4. Ready for chapter 5? All right, it's titled, I Quit. I Quit. So, Andrea and I would be representing our school. Ugh, I didn't want to do it. I might actually have to learn something about the presidents. What a waste. The more time you spend learning stuff, the less time you have to spend on important stuff, like watching TV and playing video games. But everybody at school was really getting into it. All the kids wanted to see us beat those Dirk School dorks again. All the teachers were feeding Andrea and me facts about the presidents to help us get ready. When we went to the media center, Mrs. Rupee showed us more books and videos about the presidents. During computer class, our computer teacher, Mrs. Yonkers, told us that Bill Clinton was the first president to use email. During music class, our music teacher, Mr. Loring, told us that Bill Clinton also played the saxophone on TV. During phys ed, our gym teacher, Miss Small, told us that Gerald Ford was a star football player when he was in college at the University of Michigan. All the grown-ups at school kept pulling Andrea and me aside in the hallway to tell us facts they knew about the presidents. Our security guard, Officer Spence, told me about how the Secret Service protects the presidents. He said you never know what questions might be asked at the President's Day Challenge. Even Coach Hyatt, my Pee Wee football coach, wanted to help. AJ, she shouted to me at the end of practice on Saturday, I want you and Andrea to pick up my car. What? I replied. How would picking up your car help us win the President's Day Challenge? Pick it up, she shouted back. Show us how tough you are. If you can pick up a car, you can do anything. That was weird. Coach Hyatt is a riot. Finally, it was President's Day. We had that day off from school, and the President's Day Challenge would be on Wednesday night. On Tuesday morning, we were in Mr. Cooper's class when an announcement came over the loudspeaker. Andrea and AJ, please report to Mr. Klutz's office. Uh-oh. Ooh, said Ryan. AJ and Andrea are going to Mr. Klutz's office together. They must be in love. When are you going to get married? Asked Michael. Andrea and I walked 1,100,000 miles to Mr. Klutz's office. When we got there, he was hanging upside down from the ceiling. And here's Jim's picture of Mr. Klutz hanging upside down from the ceiling, which is what he does very frequently. Why are you hanging upside down from the ceiling? Andrea asked. It helps me think, Mr. Klutz replied. Your brain works better after the blood has rushed to your head. You should try it. Mr. Klutz is nuts. He climbed down and sat behind his desk. Did we do something wrong, I asked. Usually, when I get called to the principal's office, it's because I did something wrong. No, Mr. Klutz replied. Just the opposite. I'm so proud of you two. Win or lose, you'll be representing our school. You're going to be under a lot of pressure tomorrow night. The questions will be harder. There may be some trick questions, too. I know you're both going to give it your best shot. I looked at Andrea. She had on her mean face. What's the matter, Andrea? Asked Mr. Klutz. Arlo doesn't know anything about the presidents, she complained. He's not prepared. He's not even trying. I know lots of stuff about the presidents, I said. Oh, yeah, Andrea said. You know which president put a toilet in the White House. You know which president threw up on somebody. But that's all you know. Arlo is going to bring our team down, Mr. Klutz. Hey, I didn't want to do this in the first place, I shouted. I don't want everybody to think I'm some kind of brainiac like you. All my friends are making fun of me. You know what? I quit. Do it yourself. Here's AJ and Andrea yelling at each other, as they tend to do. I went to open the door, but Mr. Klutz stood up and blocked me. He came and put his arms around me and Andrea. Look, he said gently, you two kids have known each other for a long time. You were chosen to represent elementary school because you're really smart. You're both in the gifted and talented program. I need you to put aside your differences and work together as a team for the good of the school. Can you do that for one night? Okay, Andrea and I replied softly. We walked 1,100,000 miles back to our classroom without saying anything. But Andrea seemed to cheer up just as we got to the door. I have an idea, Arlo, she said excitedly. Why don't you come over to my house after school today? We can be study buddies. Study buddies? I don't want to be Andrea's study buddy. I just hope my friends didn't hear her say that as we walked into the classroom. Ooh, said Ryan, AJ and Andrea are going to be study buddies. They must be in love. When are you going to get married? Asked Michael. All right, that's chapter 5. We'll pick up chapter 6 tomorrow, which is titled The President's Day Challenge. But before we go, we got to do the joke of the day, okay? This is a good one of my favorites. This comes from Carter in Illinois. Carter gave me this joke. Here it is. What's the difference between a duck and a dollar? What is the difference between a duck and a dollar? Give up? One has a bill on its face, and the other has a face on its bill. Get it? That is a great joke. Thanks, Carter. All right. Listen, you guys, get off the couch. Stop staring at screens. It's time to thank Josh Salzman and Ryan Cunningham. You know why? Because they created this. Is that man nuts? My weird school, 1,100,000 hours long. My weird school, where normal things do not belong. My weird school, where art is cool, and the teachers are strange as a rule. And my weird school. My weird school. Oh yeah, it's my weird school. Okay, you guys. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Wash your hands like crazy and read like crazy too. Bye.